Today at the City Club of Cleveland, we are listening to a new Leaders program featuring author Charles Michener. We'll return to our speaker in a minute for our traditional City Club questions and answers. We encourage you to formulate questions for our speakers now and remind you that your questions should be brief and to the point. We welcome all of you here, especially those who are guests. We hope you will join the City Club and become more active in our ongoing civic dialogue. We are pleased to welcome guests at tables hosted today by the American Institute of Architects, the Cleveland Orchestra, and University Circle Incorporated. Thank you for your support. We are pleased to welcome to our forum today students who are here as part of our City Club student program. With us today are students from East High School and Rocky River High School. Will our student guests please stand to be recognized? Now we'd like to return to our speaker for our traditional City Club question and answer period. We welcome questions from everyone, including guests. Holding the microphone today are City Club new leaders Bob Aber and Angie Kazi. Now, our first question, please.
What is your vision of the new media and how does it relate to this region?
As Susan Goldberg can speak to, perhaps better than I can, the old media, as we have known, is rapidly vanishing. And newspapers and magazines and so on are struggling with ways to retool their communication apparatuses and skills in a new electronically dominated format. The media center, my perception of the need for a media center at Case Western Reserve came out of my experience teaching a class there last semester, as I'm teaching this semester, in narrative nonfiction writing, in which the students, by the way, all have to write a 5,000-word article, not a term paper, on some aspect of University Circle. Weirdly enough, this idea had never occurred to anyone at Case Western Reserve before. Here they have this great array of everything under the sun at their doorstep to write about, and no one had ever thought about using that as a subject for a course. In terms of today's media, there are huge challenges. Let me just say this too. Media is at the center of everybody's life. It's at the center of everybody's profession, whether we like it or not. As Marshall McLuhan predicted, the media became the message. As we saw in the presidential race, it became overwhelmingly the message. Today's people, tomorrow's citizens in any profession, architecture, law, healthcare, and so on, have to become sophisticated in the media, in handling the media, in communicating through the media, and so on. When I became a journalist after going to Columbia Graduate School of Journalism, all the media was going out with a notebook, asking questions and writing down answers. Today, it's much more complicated than that. You have to be able to appear on talk shows. You have to have an understanding of how the internet works. You have to be able to produce new websites. One of the speakers who's coming, I have 4 speakers coming to my class this semester: John Lahr, Philip Gourevich, Tina Brown, and Suzanne Levine. Tina Brown has just gone from Vanity Fair and the New Yorker and all of that to the Daily Beast, which is a very, very fast-growing website. Comes out every day. It's a 24-hour news thing that keeps you informed about all sorts of things. And one of the contributors to that Daily Beast is sitting right here, Mansfield Fraser, who has written brilliantly on the subject of what's really going on in Bernie Madoff's evil mind. So it's a way, I'm sort of circled around what I meant to say, which is that my perception when I taught that course at Case Western Reserve was that the university was balkanized, as is so much of Cleveland. People in the law department don't talk to the medical department, don't talk to the political science, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. One way to bring all of this together is the media. The media is where all of this can unite. So the program, among many other aspects, would require and open up interdisciplinary opportunities, both from the law school to the media center and vice versa. We've chosen the name Great Lakes because I happen to think the Great Lakes is the sexiest rubric around. Northeastern Ohio doesn't hold a candle to Great Lakes. And we also wanted to be able to draw from students throughout the Great Lakes region, and also the Great Lakes as an area is a fantastic subject for study. Because when you run a media program, you're sending the students out into the area, into the region, to report stories. So that's what we're up to, and we're trying to get money. There you are. And the Knight Foundation is interested.
I'm interested in your opinion on our form of county government. You made some comments about the recent activities of our county commissioners. Governor Strickland recently appointed a panel to come up with their thoughts for change in our county government structure, and when it went down to Columbus, was met with disapproval. And we're sort of back to square one. So I would like your thoughts on what would be a better structure, if you think we should have a better structure, and most importantly, how do you get it accomplished?
I think I had a very interesting time last week with Jim Rokakis, the county treasurer, the excellent county treasurer. And he didn't say off the record, but it was startling to hear how few hours the so-called county commissioners actually spend in that building. I mean, I don't know what these guys are doing. We know what Jimmy DeMore is doing. I mean, he's talking to his lawyer. But as Jim suggested, and as I tend to agree with him, we need an uber mayor over the whole county rather than who would have power over the whole region, so we can begin to think as a larger unit. And so that Cleveland can take its rightful place as maybe the biggest, but not this sort of hole in the donut that it now is. That would require a lot of people in the Cleveland political world losing power. And I didn't go into any of that in my speech because it is such an intractable problem, the whole system of government here, whether on the city council level. Here you still have 23 or 24 city councilmen in a city that requires perhaps at most 5. You have this duplication of government all over the region. And it's going to take real leadership and real selflessness on the part of existing leaders to give up power and come up with new structures for government. I'm very encouraged on a smaller level by what Cincinnati is doing. They've divided their city in terms of economic development into 2 consortiums, the Uptown Consortium and the Downtown Consortium. And at the head of each consortium, the downtown is like Cleveland's downtown, Uptown is like University Circle. It's where the University of Cincinnati is. And each consortium is run by a triumvirate, 3 equal people, 1 from business, 1 from politics, and 1 from education. So that any decision, any initiative taken in those 2 areas has to factor in those 3 elements, those 3 essentials of the city, and it seems to be working quite well. As opposed to here, where you have the fortresses. The clinic calls the city calls University Circle. It's all these little things, and they need to start bridging all of that and finding new structures to bring that together in a meaningful way. Yep.
Mr. Michener, thanks for your wonderfully and thoughtful talk. Cleveland is losing population. The region maybe is not. It's growing, I think, very, very slightly. But how do we attract people back to the region? They've moved south. They've moved west. They've moved to the overpriced cities in the East Coast, on the East Coast. Do you have any thoughts about how we can get at those people?
People like to say jobs.